So after I got the epidural, I think maybe I got it early evening, maybe 6 o'clock, and I got a new nurse around that time, 6 or 7, yeah, I think. And she was a really good nurse. She was an older lady, and she was a nurse for a very long time. She had a lot of experience. And she basically, at this point my water still hadn't broken on its own, and every time she checked me, she said the bag of water was bulging and, like about to break, but it was still cushioning the head pretty well. And kind of at this point, I kind of thought, well, maybe I could have done it. Maybe I could have done it without the epidural because of the bag of water still being intact. I think the contractions may not have been as intense because the bag of water is kind of cushioning the baby's head against the cervix. So I don't know, but definitely within my next labor, and it's going to be a long time from now. But with the next one, I'm going to try to do without the epidural, and I'm going to try to do it in a birthing center where I have a little bit more say in what's happening, and kind of less of the hospital agenda is forced on me. So yeah, basically every time she checked me after that, I think I was 8 and then I was 9, and the doctor came in and she was very anxious to go home because it was a Friday night, it was getting late, and I think I was one of her last patients to deliver. So she kept wanting to break the water to speed things along, but then the nurse kind of said, the baby's heart rate was kind of low, and because I wasn't moving around, it wasn't very variable, wasn't varying very much, and so they were kind of worried about that. And with each contraction, the baby's heart rates kind of got lower, so if that happens too much, or the doctor feels like the baby's heart rate's too low, well, it's the next thing they roll you in for C-section. So I was very worried about that. The nurse just kept, saying we should keep the water intact, and David was really good about this. When the doctor was in there, David said, I don't really see any sense in breaking the water since we're making good progress, just let it go along so the baby's heart rate doesn't take, a turn for the worse. So basically, against the doctor's will, she didn't break the water. Around 9, I went out once I was like 9.5 centimeters dilated. It was pretty late at night, I don't remember what time, but the bag of water was still intact, and so the doctor came in. Basically at that time she broke the water. They cut off my epidural because I basically said I wasn't probably not going to be able to push very effectively because I had absolutely no sensation on my lower half, and the epidural was like way strong. So they cut the epidural, and then that was probably about 2 hours before I delivered. So I was worried about it wearing off, but apparently it was really strong, and the doctor said, it takes a while to wear off. So I pushed for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, or an hour and a half to 45 minutes, and it was extremely difficult to push, to focus the pushing down there instead of in my face, because I didn't have much feeling down there. So a lot of my pushing was coming, from out my face, and I just felt like I was gonna like pop my eyes out and blood vessels. I don't know. I was gonna get all this swelling and redness in my face, but that didn't happen. Pushing was really difficult. I was extremely thirsty, and only getting a little bit of ice chips every now and then that my sisters would give me. They asked me if I wanted to have a mirror during the delivery, and I said yes, and I was very happy that I did. It was just an amazing experience, and to be able to watch that, and also it kind of gave me the motivation to push, because I could see exactly what was happening with each push. So I was glad I got the mirror. Let's see what else. Yeah, I was just extremely thirsty, and pushing, it just seemed like it was gonna last forever because you could see the baby's head, but it hadn't come under the pelvic bone yet. So every time I pushed, it'd come a little bit farther, then it just slipped back when I stopped pushing. So it was kind of discouraging. And at that point I was asking about the episiotomy, because I was told that that's not really routine to give episiotomies anymore. But the doctor was like, yeah, I think you'll need one. So basically she cut the episiotomy straight down cut, and before that she was asking me if I could feel it, and I was worried about feeling it because it had been like an hour and a half before they turned off the epidural, and it's one thing to like pinch me, but another thing to like actually cut my skin. So she did end up giving me the local anesthetic of the lidocaine, which I guess I was glad I got. I didn't feel anything at that point. She was basically, she did the episiotomy straight down, but once the baby came out, I mean, as the baby's head came down, I could see that it was really large, and the episiotomy wasn't going to be enough. So I ended up getting the episiotomy and then tearing a partial 3rd degree tear. And I want to explain that on this video because I don't think you guys want to know. But basically this is like a 3rd degree, and then a 4th degree is worse, and it was kind of like a partial 3rd. That's the way she had to classify it. But it didn't tear through any muscles, so that's all I'm going to say about that. And then the baby, despite the fact that the doctor kind of felt my stomach and said, you know, was asking me about the ultrasound that I had the couple of days before that and what the measurement of the baby would be, and when I told her it was like measuring 9 pounds 3 ounces, she kind of even thought that I was crazy or the ultrasound was crazy, and said, oh, you know, my belly is like too small and baby's not going to be that big. So it kind of made me feel better. But when they got the baby out, it was a boy, and David announced it to me. Although I don't really remember that part, I just remember looking myself, like as soon as it came out I just looked, and I kind of knew, so I don't know if I heard him. But David cut the cord and they put the baby right on top of me, and it was just very surreal. I don't really remember much of it. I do remember, like, when they put him on top of me, I looked at him and I thought he had brown eyes, just like David. That's all I saw, but his eyes are not brown. I don't know if they look that way because it was very dark in there or what, but they're just basically the baby blue, gray kind of baby eyes until they turn their real color. But I just remember seeing the little eyes, and he was screaming when he came out, and he was bright red, you know, pink, and I'm sure he got a really good APGAR score, though I don't really know it. And he was 8 pounds and 15 ounces. He measured 21.5 inches long. So the ultrasound was pretty accurate. I mean, you know, only off by 2 or 3 ounces. And he was born at 12:47 a.m. So just after midnight, and he was born October 30th, the day before Halloween. And we named him Malachi Andrew